Good morning. So, we had a little bit of a pullback, as to be expected. Anytime you raise well over, what were we, about 25 billion over? The last high was about 115. We shot right up to 142 last night. I was saying we were going to be at 150 pretty soon. You know what? I'll take 141 as a nice marker. It's pretty damn close. And I think that now, after Bitcoin pulled back a little bit, I know a lot of people judging the mood and the atmosphere. I was thinking that there would be, the consensus was there was going to be a bigger pullback. I did not think there would be a bigger pullback. I think that this is just the beginning. I think there are way too many people who are trying to correlate this with past events. Sometimes the past is irrelevant in these type of situations. There's just really, sometimes you just have to admit that you can't really predict the future, and you just have to take all the events that are happening right now and make the best decision. People are saying, if you go back to the tech bubble or the big stock crash, it's like, guys and girls, we're revolutionizing the entire world. I know this has happened several times in different ways, but not anything close to what's happening right now when we're talking about how we see value. There has not been this big of a shift since people were trading chickens for goats and fucking skins for wool and shit like that. Like, we haven't, and then they introduced gold coins, and then the gold coins turned to, paper IOU slips basically. And we have not seen such a big culture shift since that time, since we did change over to using coins as currency. And this is even bigger in my opinion, because back then you always had something like gold, and then eventually, you had the backed dollar. This is something that is completely different. And you want to know why? Who introduced the gold? Who introduced the fiat currency? Governments did. That's the big difference. That's the big pull. That's why this is completely different than anything that's ever happened in history. Because this is not government controlled, guys. When was the last time we had a big event throughout our time that some big higher power didn't control, some government or some ruling class? It's always been that way. Everything has been dictated throughout history as basically the powerful reigning over the weak. All throughout history, from China to Eastern life to everywhere, Western life, everywhere. It's crazy how this change is occurring, and we're pulling the rug under the ruling class, under the power family, because that's the thing. Power is an illusion. People think people are powerful. It's crazy how you get into like a gang, and then you see that the gang members ask you to do something that you might not want to do, but you feel obligated to, because there's like this hidden ring of power where you feel like you're in some kind of bond and some kind of team where it's, you feel like you're part of something, and that's what power is. Power draws in people like that, and they don't understand that it's all illusionary. It's all in your mind. Money, power, all of this stuff is in the mind. None of it is real. It's only real because we let it be real. No one can take power from you. You can only give them power. Right? And what does that mean? It means that you don't give them anything until you're dead, and then you're dead and you can't give them anything anyway. So you never have to give anybody anything. It's always a choice. And, sometimes those choices are hard to make when push comes to shove. But it's just, this is a very, very powerful time for all of humanity, because here we are where we have things like MyBit, holler at MyBit. It's closed off strong, almost 3 million raised. The entire ICO doubled overnight. I was happy to see that. People are realizing what they might have missed out on. So that is good. People who missed out on the ICOs, look for it on the exchanges very soon. And platforms like that where we're able to decentralize. So there's one thing to crowdfund. It's another thing to have decentralized crowdfunding. And that's the big part, because anything can become centralized very easy because, like I say, centralized and decentralized is all a mindset. You can't let something be centralized unless you let it be centralized. You can't give your decentralization away, so to speak. Now, because you have the blockchain, you don't have to give that away. There's always, this is humanity. We're starting to see. It's amazing to see what's happening because it's like the cover is being pulled from everyone's eyes and people understand what the value really is. People just blindly follow dollar and say, well, the dollar is the value because everyone says it is. And now people are realizing they can allocate value. This is people allocating value to Bitcoin. That's all this is. It's allocating power. And the more you allocate, the less power the financial institutions, the centralized institutions have. And that's really big. It's huge. We're on the cusp of crumbling everything. And man, people are scared. People understand when you grow, it hurts. You have to shed old skins. You have to tear muscles. Bones have to break and grow. It's crazy what happens when you get broken down and you have to rebuild. It's painful. It's not an easy thing, and people are going to start to see this when the old centralized world starts to crumble, and we start to really become more individuals, but yet in a worldwide community. If that makes sense, that means we have more power than we've ever had. But we're also connected, and anytime, it's amazing to see things like Steemit, that person who needed a surgery, everyone chipped in $1, and before you know it, the guy raised $20,000-$30,000 for his surgery. That's the power of the masses all chipping in a little bit. You don't understand. You think like it's like voting. You think your vote might not matter. It's like if everyone just chips in a little bit, chip in something that doesn't hurt you, that doesn't kill your bottom line. And everyone does that. You have all the money in the world. You don't need any more money. You don't need any more capital. You need solar panels. You need clean energy. Do you need business opportunities? Right? You can start in this crypto game with a few $100s and really become rich. It's very possible. Just like with anything in life, it takes work and discipline and dedication and hunger. If you're doing this for the money, you're not going to survive. I can tell you that now. Go ahead and bow out. Good game. If you're doing this for the money, you're not going to survive. I can just tell you that right now because people who do this for the money are scoreboard watchers. They're the same people who are watching and cheering with Bitcoin at 4,000, and yet they're ready to jump off the roof when it's dipping down to 2,000 the other week. I don't understand how people can live that way. It's so chaotic to have that kind of imbalance, to not wake up every day and be centered, to have to go through that every single day, the swings, to actually let the price of something be able to control my emotions, my most powerful asset, what I have that no one else can control. I can only let people control my emotions. People say, oh, well, I can't help it. That's just being weak. That means you're not trained in the mind. That's not an excuse. To say I can't means you're not trained. Yeah, you're not going to be able to go and lift a bunch of weights on the weight bench if you never lifted weights before. You can't. That doesn't mean you can't. It means you start off small and you build up, and then one day you'll be surprised at how much weight you can lift. That's anything in life. You can't just look at something in life and say, I can't do that. Yes, you can. You just have to start at the bottom, and work your way up. But you can do it. And that's another thing that people confuse. People think time is something, like they actually like time is something that could be measured in some kind of aspect. Measuring is just human psychology. That's not real. There's nothing to measure. There's no time. There's no hourglass running out. It's just we base time on our lifespan here. How long we're going to be here, but there's no time in the infamous scheme of things. So when people say, oh, I can't do that, they're looking at what? Separating them from time. They're saying, I can't do that right now. And it would take X time to do it. And that might as well be, non-existent. What they don't understand, there is no time. If you set out a goal, you're already successful. If you set out a goal, you're already successful. If you pick up the weight, and you're consistent, you're already successful. You're already that strong. The only thing that's separating you is quote unquote time, which doesn't exist. It's all now. Your 5-year-old self, your 40-year-old self, your now self is all now. They're all the same person. They're all affected by the same thing. What you do now, it's all connected. So set out the goal, be consistent, and know that's how when people ask, I mean, I was a little kid. I was 5 year old, and when people asked me what I wanted to be when I would grow up, I didn't say an astronaut. I didn't say this or that. I said I was a billionaire, and people used to think it was cute. A little 5 year old. And I remember when people would ask me that question, I would always think, and I would, as everyone else would be on the jungle gyms playing, I would think like, are they completely oblivious to what's going on here? We're on this giant, fucking quote unquote planet. We have no idea how we got here. And, I was a 5 year old thinking this, while all the other ones are just in bliss. Like, and I always thought that when people asked me what I wanted to be and like why that was so important, to put what you want out there. And I understood that it's good to set out goals, and that's what you do as a child. You set out these goals, these, when you're a child, you don't see the time. You don't see the I can't. When you're a child, when somebody says, can you do this? You always say, yeah. But slowly over time, you start to retract, and what you wanted to be as a kid goes away because you think less of yourself and you let others' opinions weigh you down, and you start to see the world through other people's eyes and not your own eyes. And that means, when people say you're this, that's how you view yourself, and people can change how you philosophize life with words that they say to you, and it's just a fraction of what they know about you from a tainted perspective. And to live that way is just it's just cruel to you and the universe. You're giving a life force, and you can really do good for this planet. We're all in this together. Don't let the shitheads take over. Don't live in poverty. You really don't need to. It doesn't matter. Don't think less of yourself. Stop thinking. Just start doing. Like right now, as far as the market's going, I am seeing some of the cheapest Bitcoin to altcoin ratios I have ever seen. It is quite amazing what's going on. I'll touch on Bitcoin Cash since it's right here. One thing that is to be noted, that Bitcoin has risen to 4,000, yet Bitcoin Cash has been locked at about 300, which I said this was going to be about the floor. It's just what it's doing. People are predicting big Litecoin and Dash booms. I don't see where that's coming from. I don't see why anyone wants to invest in Litecoin and Dash at this moment, unless I'm missing something. When you have Bitcoin doing what it's doing, and you have Bitcoin Cash as a just another competitor out there. I'm just not a fan of, like I said, I'll say that over and over again. Also, there are basically, really good time to get out there. Steemit needs to pick up their game. Right now, the Steemit is affecting EOS just because they're really not. We expected more from Steemit as being the pioneer, the front runner with this social media, and it's dropping the ball, and it's allowing other competitors to come in because it's not doing what we expected it to do. We still have the same old clunky UI. We still have the same issues. They haven't really been paying attention to what the community wants. It just really needs an overhaul. In my opinion, it's still in beta. It just and people are starting to see that maybe it needed Dan L. I'm not hating on Steam. I'm just saying that it has been suffering, and I have my ear to the streets, and I understand. I hear the rumbling. That's what enables me to make some of the moves I make, is because I understand that the market is very, very dominant on human emotion. Human emotion drives this market, and I'm really good at picking up on those cues by keeping my ear to the ground, listening to my insiders. And right now, there's a lot of rumble about Steam. There's a lot of hate about Steam. So I am looking for some kind of big competitor. One of them is onG Coin, right here with their ICO going on. The really good thing about this thing is they are not in beta. They already have a platform that's up and running, and they have a $25 million evaluation Delaware-based company. And the ICO is actually going for 50 cents per. So that's basically free money. And what this is an anti-censorship social hub. So it's basically Facebook, but with privacy and anti-fake news. So basically the cool thing about this is you can earn money. So all those social warriors out there, God bless them, the people who are out there calling everybody out on their fake bullshit. We like those people. We like people who know what they're talking about, and police people on fake bullshit, people putting bullshit out there. This is what this is for, but you can actually get paid, right, to spot fake news and become, get a really good reputation, and actually that could become like your career and shit. Fighting fake news, which is a very valiant, career. I'm tired of people always looking at, oh, well, what makes the most money? It's like, nah, what's going to help the world the best? Because get this through your heads. What does it fucking matter how much money you have if the fucking world goes to shit? People are so, I don't get it. It makes, like I said, I've been kind of a hermit my whole life. That's how I have these weird philosophies, and I have these, I won't call them weird. I say everyone else's philosophies are weird. I think mine are pretty they make a lot of sense if you break them down. But, mine are so different from the norm. People are shocked what they hear from me because, hear this guy and just gives no fucks and just speaks what's on his mind. And that seems to be such a rare thing in this world. And people are I just see when I talk to people, they're just so focused on the money. That's it. They never ask the right questions to become wealthy. It's like you're asking for the directions to Moneyville, and you're trying to take all these detours you don't need to take, and you end up getting lost. It's nuts. It's insanity. Money is not important. It's not. The world is important, guys. I'd much rather be a broke hobo in some paradise of a world than have billions and billions in a shithole. That's the difference. Like, if you're making money by polluting the oceans and killing the wildlife and killing the ecosystem and fucking everybody over, what does money really mean then? I mean, come on, guys. You've been poor. You've been rich. Anyone that knows. I've been in fucking the shittiest houses, the shit little brick houses in the side of Mexico in dangerous areas, and I've been in penthouses in the sky. I've been each and everywhere, and I'm never different. The only difference is I have a little more security, but guess what that does? That actually takes a little bit of the fun out of life. Not having to hunt. It's kind of like being a tiger and having the food dropped off at your feet every morning. If you're a fucking tiger, you want to go get your food. You don't want it fucking dropped on your thing. That's why you see real tigers who are billionaires, they still take the risk. They still go for it because they're hungry, and that's what they want to get the most out of life. Secure is for the sheep. I don't need a fence built around me. I'm the motherfucking wolf, but I'm not a wolf that's killing sheep. I'm a wolf that's herding sheep. And that's why you've never seen that shit. When people look and they're like, well, he's a wolf. Shouldn't he be killing shit? And it's like, nah, he's actually helping. That's what we need in this world. We need some more people who are willing to get their hands dirty, not give a fuck, but at the bottom of their heart, they really want what's best for the world. Money is not the issue. Let's make the world a better place. And I just right now, Facebook is one of the biggest companies in the entire planet, hundreds of billions of dollars. It has enough power to do anything. Facebook controls and runs shit. The government knows everything about everyone because of Facebook. I bet you're on Facebook right now. I bet you have a Facebook tab open right now. The government is watching you. All of them are watching you. Anytime they want anything, your messages, they are not private. Everything you messages might as well be on an open forum. People treat Facebook and use their deepest, darkest secrets, and I just think they're insane, because then when it gets leaked or something crazy happens, they're like, it ruins their lives. And it's like, you have no privacy. You're naked when you use Facebook. And guess what? 99% of the shit I see on Facebook is fake news. It has become a cesspool of people stealing your privacy and you getting butchered with fake fucking news. onG is already, the reason I'm betting big on onG is because it's already made. Like I said, Steam is faltering. So I was on the hunt for the Steam. Steam wasn't even going to take out Facebook, though. We all know that. Steam, it wasn't built to take out Facebook. This is built to take out Facebook, and it will. Just like MySpace got taken out and Friendster got taken out, Facebook had a good run. People are tired of it. People want the next big thing. Why did you think... the funny thing about Snapchat, it was really just supposed to be more for just privacy. Send a titty pic and it'll delete after 5 seconds or some shit, right? That was what it was for. But what did it turn into? It turned into like this social hub where people started documenting their lives, and it started to become a social website. You know why? Because people hate fucking Facebook. Because people hate Facebook. So it was like, well, they just found another outlet to communicate, and then it built because of necessity. That's not what Snapchat was going to be. It just turned out that way because of the necessity, because everyone hates Facebook. No one really likes Twitter. So I just see that, and I see these big social coins just skyrocketing post ICO, 10, 20x gains. I just see that, yeah, that this is a really good deal. I have a special deal worked out with them for bulk order deals. If you want to drop 100 Ether or more, if you're interested in this project, you can get in contact with me and I can make that deal happen for you. It's going to be the best deal you can get. You can't get a better deal. You know, I'm heavily committed to onG. I think that it's going to be a game changer. You know, I just don't. There's some big coins that I'm not going to be caught dead without. And the first one you already know is virtual reality. I've been big on virtual. I'm gonna own all the virtual reality coins. And I'm gonna bet hard on the ones I like the most, like VibeHub. Second thing I'm not going to be caught without is going to have to obviously be some form of, now I'm going to lump everything into entertainment, but I'm not going to be caught dead without something like No Limit Coin. I'm not going to be caught dead without something like Funfair, a sports betting coin. I'm going to have now No Limit Coin's not gambling. But I'm going to, for the sake of not having so many categories, I'm going to lump everything sort of in the same bowl. But yet it's like water and grease, so they don't mix well. So the water being No Limit Coin, basically, it's a $70+ billion industry for NFL alone. I'm not going to be caught dead not investing in the next DraftKings or next FanDuel. I'm definitely not going to be caught dead not investing in the next big sports betting, because gambling is just a big coin. You know, there's a lot of them, but I like Funfair. I'm not going to be caught dead without the next big social media app like Facebook, right? You know, if you miss Facebook, you probably want to jump off a roof. I'm not going to do that again. So I'm definitely going to be placing bets on good, you know, that's why I bet on Steam It. It's kind of right? It's not, you know, it's not definitely not taking off Facebook. So I'm definitely going to be hunting things that are attacking Facebook. onG already has a platform built, already ready to go, ready to rock and roll. Also, I am going to not be caught. Now, those are things that I'm not going to be caught without, because I know that they're absolutely going to explode. What else I'm not going to be caught without is I'm not going to be caught not supporting things like MyBit and just basically decentralized crowdfunding platforms that help people in A, business, B, commodities, and C, everything else. And when I mean everything else, I mean basically just giving people equal opportunities to invest in businesses that they believe in. We're talking, you know, what is the blockchain doing? It's decentralizing money. It's decentralizing clean energy. It's decentralizing, you know, the commodity. You're already starting to see the commodity-backed tokens. You're seeing the metal-backed tokens. You know, we need silver for things like fucking electronics. Very, very, very important. You know, nothing would be working. We'd have no cell phones, nothing, if we didn't have silver. And you know, gold, all these things have their big uses, and we're starting to see them get tokenized. And it's amazing because it's not like the dollar where they say, hey guys, we have a big old Fort Knox, you know, we have a big old fort full of gold, guys, and all your dollars are back. No, that's bullshit. They don't have any gold, and the dollar's not backed by shit. How scary is that? All right, so if we have fiat coin, if we had fiat coin, no one would invest in it because it wouldn't have a white paper. No one would know who made it. And it would have question marks on circulating supply, and it would be uncapped with question marks. No one would invest in fiat coin, period. If fiat was a coin, it's backed by nothing. It might as well be as bad as that one ICO where it was like, fuck you, the fuck you ICO, where he was basically saying, hey, just give me money so I can blow it on hookers and stuff. That's basically what fiat coin would be. Just stop and think about that. If your favorite fiat currency, whatever it is, if it was a coin, would you buy it? Ask yourself that. You wouldn't. So why the fuck do you have so much of it? That's a question I ask a lot of people, and they never have a good answer. They're just like, well, I don't know, because it's the status quo. It's like, well, stop. Why? Who cares if it's the status? Who cares if it's the government? You know, it's like, who cares? We have value. You can buy anything you want with Bitcoin now, basically. I mean, overstock, all these big things where Bitcoin is, you know, surpassed PayPal and market cap. You know, it's not really an excuse. And yeah, you know, if you have to transfer a little bit of Bitcoin for fiat to pay bills, you know, you do that. But I don't hold my fucking money in fiat. Fuck that. You know, I got some. just in case, but it's a very small portion of my portfolio. I'm not going to be caught dead with a bunch of useless fiat coins. And it's amazing that these things, when they say this is backed by X amount of commodities, it is. If it's backed by metals, you can be fucking sure that it's tokenized, and that's what you're getting. There's no inflation. There's no lies. And it's funny. The reason I don't invest in Ripple is because I don't like the banks. I don't think the banks are going to be around. I think the banks are useless now. We have our own banks. Last time I checked, we all have our own bank of Bitcoin. You don't need a bank. What are you going to use a bank for? Who the fuck? Why? Who's using banks? Like, why are you going to need a bank? You know that we have WeTrust and all these decentralized loan platforms where you don't have to go to a bank and get shook out and hung upside down and and charged all these ridiculous interest rates. No, decentralized loans, brah. Go get you some. I mean, the world's changing. Change with it. Don't be one of those slow guys, slow people that don't change and, accept the status quo. Life's too vibrant, man. Plants grow, and then before you know it, there's a badass flower that blossomed. And people are like, whoa, I didn't even know that flower could do that. And that's what's happening with humanity, man. We got this fucking badass flower that's blossoming. People are like freaking out and excited all at the same time, seeing all this amazing. And it's crazy because I've always had a non-poor mindset. I've always viewed myself with all the zeros in my accounts. I've always seen that. I never see what other people tell me they see when they see 134 billion. I always see the trillion. I always see that, right? And I've seen that my entire life, but it's good to see the people who didn't see that and they're actually starting to make money that is outside of the establishment where they're like, whoa, I just made more on crypto than I did my year's salary. They're starting to realize how enslaved they were. It's not that you're not exposed to make that money. It's that you've been conditioned to think that you're supposed to be poor. You're supposed to think that a year's salary is supposed to be X dollars. That's in the slave wages. That's in the old world. That's not how we have abundance. Abundance of everything. A flower, an apple tree doesn't come with one fucking apple, guys. It bears all the apples it can bear. There's not one star in the sky, guys. There's a million, billion, trillion stars in the sky. There's not one drop of water when it rains. There's infinite amount of drops. There's infinite amount of air. There's infinite amount of life. Why put a capsule on it? Don't look at your slave wages and compare that to crypto wages. This is how the world's supposed to be. You're supposed to be rich and wealthy. Don't let the establishment tell you otherwise. You're supposed to have everything you've ever wanted. And you know if you don't deserve it because you didn't work for it. And deep down, you know if you deserve it or not. You know you are where you are because you are where you are. You know you have full control over everything that's happening right now. The past is dead. If you're listening to this video, you got a chance. No excuses. This is the time. Put this old slave mindset away. Throw it out of the window. That's not what this is for. Wake up, $4,000 Bitcoin. Wake up, $10,000 Bitcoin. Wake up, $50,000 Bitcoin. Wake up, $250,000 Bitcoin. May I continue? Wake up is the key. Wake up. Understand that this is now. This is happening. Don't get left in the dust. Break the chains. Get that slave mindset out of here. It's fucking disgusting. We're all meant to be rich. Don't think anything else. Cheers. Peace.